Hello, and welcome to Keep Left, the podcast that approaches politics from the left side of the political spectrum. It's July 2nd, 2024, and we're going to talk a little bit today about two topics. One is a follow-up from a very long podcast video I did a couple weeks ago about the cast review from Britain, and the other is to talk about that debate. First, a report has come out about the cast review involving a lot of researchers from such universities as Yale, USC, Drexel, and several other universities, where they go through the cast review and talk about a lot of the failings. And I'm very gratified that a lot of the things that they found problematic about the review mirror the same concerns that I had. Their review is much more scientific and thorough and academically based, as well as picking out a few things that I didn't have the expertise to get into. So definitely check that out. I'll put it in the show notes below, and possibly at a later date go through that one much more thoroughly. But beyond patting myself on the back for that one, let's talk about that debate. Look, Joe Biden did not come off well. He didn't. But at the end of the day, there's two things we have to talk about. One is that it's not up to us. At this point, it's just not up to us. For all we'd like to do to say that we have control right now, the final decision is up to a handful of people. Joe Biden, his family, his advisors, his vice president, and a handful of Democratic Party people. They'll make the decision ultimately as to whether or not Joe Biden stays in the race. And for all the people who think that we live in Aaron Sorkin land, where we can just throw the convention open and just nominate who we think in our heart of hearts is the best person for the job, that is not how the federal election statutes work. The money that's been raised can really be spent by only two people, Biden and Harris. That's it. So you can't get past Harris as the front runner for the race, so to speak, if Biden steps aside. It has to go to Harris. And as far as Biden's fitness for presidency, look, if it was a one-off, if it was what I suspect it was, which is that he had a cold and one of his people gave him heavy-duty cold medicine to try to get him ready for the debate, and he did what any 85-year-old would do. Heck, he did what I would do in that situation, where if I was given heavy-duty cold medicine, I gapped. My brain went to hell. That person should be fired. But going forward, if Biden shows up to every other debate, if Biden shows up every day and is fine, this will fade in the distance as we move forward. On the other hand, if it turns out that this is something that is going to happen more frequently because he is getting old and these gaps are going to be happening more and more, my hope is that the people around him will get him to not only not run, but step down and give Harris a shot at running as an incumbent for for this next election, because it is that serious. And as I said in yesterday's podcast, we're going to look at Project 2025 to discuss just how important it is. It is going to be incredibly important. But look, if Biden stays in, even if it's the wrong decision, we have to get him across the line, because we've ignored the other person in that debate. Donald Trump lied from start to finish. Lied every time he opened his mouth. And people are so used to his lying that we never notice it anymore. We don't pay attention to it. We've normalized his behavior that it's not even news. And we've got to stop that. It's a decision between the pathological liar and a guy who is getting old. And they're both old, let's face it. Joe Biden's only a few years older than Trump. And so between these two old people, I'd rather go with the law-abiding one who means well than the narcissist who is in it for himself and is just trying to stay out of jail. So let's find out what happens with Biden. Either way, we have got to pull him over the line. Even if we're doing Weekend at Bernie's in D.C., he has to get across the line no matter what. And I hope you'll join me in helping him get across the line. And if it's Harris, we've got to get her across the line because the alternative is just terrible. And look, don't lose sight of the fact, whatever your issues are with Biden, whatever your issues are with his politics, with his capacity, with his abilities, throw any attribute of Biden's at me. Trump's is worse. Trump is less able. Trump is less smart. Trump is a liar. Trump can't keep any thoughts together without, he didn't answer a single question. If you go back and watch and read the transcript, he barely answered any questions. Biden actually answered questions. He lost track of things. He didn't look good, but he answered questions. He tried to stay on topic. Trump never did. Not once. So look, stay with it. Let's get through it. Let's see what happens. But we've got to pull ourselves together and move forward. And again, apologies for the green halo. I'm hoping to get better lighting in here so to get that to go away and probably new and improved backdrop. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And as always, keep left.